During the 9th Summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States in Tegucigalpa, capital of Honduras, Colombia assumed the pro-tempore presidency of the organization for the period 2025-2026. Pedro said at the closing of the summit that he will work on a strategy towards Haiti and its democratic strengthening and the concrete overcoming of the blockades imposed on Cuba and Venezuela. The new president of CELAC acknowledged that what follows will be stormy month, but then clarified that storms are always good because they lead to port faster than before. For this reason, he asked CELAC and the region to act in unity. And in Honduras, the heads of states and government of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States participated in the 9th Summit of the organization with the objective of strengthening integration ties, cooperation, and regional political dialogue. Let's see.
La cumbre contó con la presencia de representantes de 33
The summit was attended by representatives from 33 member countries, where various issues were addressed, including the violation of human rights by the U.S. government towards migrants, who have been criminalized by Washington.
Sobre si esas cárceles deberían estar o no estar, pero lo que sí critico es que no puede llegar ningún migrante a una cárcel de esas.
I do criticize the fact that no migrant can arrive to one of those jails because he would be treated as a criminal and as a slave, and he is not. He is a human being, and Latin America cannot lower the flag of human dignity. Human dignity was what made us to be born as republics. None of us is a monarchy. If we forget that phase, which is the same as the history of the United States except for Canada, we forget what the concept of human dignity itself means.
En ese sentido, el presidente de
For his
Cuba,
part, the president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, denounced the defamation campaigns that seek to misrepresent and generate contempt towards the Cuban medical brigades as part of a new form of aggression against the island.
A ello se suma ahora la infame campaña contra los programas de cooperación médica que Cuba brinda a más de 50 naciones.
To this is now added the infamous campaign against the medical cooperation programs that Cuba provides to more than 50 nations, launching fallacies, accusations against the solidarity work of the island and its positive and significant impact on the lives of millions of people in Latin America, the Caribbean, and the world. The restrictions on the visas of any person on the planet who supports or benefits from such programs constitutes vulgar blackmail, a scandalous and flagrant threat, and an unjustified aggression. This new pressure is not only intended to punish Cuba and the altruistic and humanistic vocation of its professionals, but also reflects an absolute disregard for the health of the people and communities that receive the benefits of Cuban medical services.
entre tanto, la mandataria
Meanwhile, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum invited to hold a summit for the economic well-being of Latin America and the Caribbean with the objective of creating a greater regional economic integration for prosperity and respect for the sovereignty of nations.
El día de hoy tengo una propuesta para ustedes.
Today I have a proposal for you. I invite you to convene a summit for the economic well-being of Latin America and the Caribbean to make greater regional economic integration a reality based on shared prosperity and respect for our sovereignty.
El presidente de Brasil, Luis Inácio Lula da Silva,
The president of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, stressed the need to promote regional trade in goods and services to facilitate exchange among nations, and affirmed his willingness to boost trade, payment in local currencies, and the regional financial system.
Necesitamos promover el comercio regional de bienes y servicios.
We need to promote regional trade in goods and services, its diversification and increasing facilitation to expand our exchange. My government is determined to reactivate the Alati Reciprocal Payments and Credits Agreement and expand the system of payments in local currency, integrate transportation, energy, and telecommunications networks at short distances, reduce costs and encourage synergies between productive chains. Brazil has been promoting 5 South American integration routes that will link the Caribbean, Atlantic, and Pacific regions and strengthen regional financial institutions, such as CAF, the Caribbean Development Bank. is essential to ensure that these projects become a reality.
Líderes destacaron que
Leaders emphasized that CELAC should be a space that consolidates political articulation and provides solutions to the problems faced by nations, in addition to promoting cooperation and sustainable development.
En un mundo marcado por transiciones geopolíticas, desigualdades económicas.
In a world marked by geopolitical transitions, economic inequalities and threats to democratic stability, CELAC must consolidate itself as a space for political articulation, where our voices are heard without external interference and where we can forge our own solutions to the challenges we face. It is important that as a region we reaffirm the indispensable role of effective multilateralism and bear witness to the importance of strengthening our participation in these international forums to promote cooperation, solidarity, and sustainable development.
For his part, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said that the union among the peoples of the region, in the face of current challenges, is an obligation. He also stressed that the councils of ministers must be retaken with strength and contribute experiences and ideas for common action.
La unión de nuestros pueblos es una obligación y debe ser construida en base al patrimonio que hemos.
The union of our peoples is an obligation and must be built on the basis of the heritage that we have managed to contribute and accumulate proposals. CELAC must take up again with strength the realization of the councils of ministers, as Honduras has done with its extraordinary presidency. I congratulate President Xiomara Castro and Honduras for the virtuous leadership she has shown to reactivate the joint councils of ministers in the economy, health, education, science, and technology, but councils of ministers that contribute experiences and ideas for common action.
Los jefes de Estado y Gobierno pertenecientes a la comunidad de
The heads of state and government belonging to the community of Latin American and Caribbean states presented joint programs in strategic areas such as economic and trade cooperation, food security, and the fight against poverty in the face of imperial threats.
In the Dominican Republic, the number of fatalities caused by the collapse of the roof of the Jet Set nightclub rose to 218. Families of the missing people denounced the lack of transparency and negligence in the identification process. It should be noted that more than 300 rescuers continue working and providing constant medical support. Also, in a gesture of solidarity, a brigade from Puerto Rico joined the work in the field. In this regard, the Dominican government called on the population and the media to avoid spreading unconfirmed information so as not to generate confusion or increase the pain of those affected. Argentina's labor unions began on Thursday a 24-hour general strike against the adjustment policies implemented by the government of Javier Milei. The strike, promoted by the unions that make up the General Confederation of Labor, constitutes a protest action against the budget cuts and other starvation measures of the Milei administration. In response to the social inequality resulting from the neoliberal policies of a government that ignores citizens' demands. As a prelude to the action, unions and social organizations staged on Wednesday a massive demonstration in front of the National Congress in Buenos Aires in support of the retirees who demand their rights every week. During the 9th Summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States in Tegucigalpa, capital of Honduras, Colombia assumed the pro tempore presidency of the organization